Subscribe to Old Coins E Collection. Today's story. This coin, 1 cent 1987 D Lincoln Memorial, United States, is one you simply cannot miss. What you're about to hear may change the way you look at the coins hidden in old drawers, jars, or dusty boxes in your home. Especially for my wise and experienced viewers, ages 55 to 65 and beyond. This journey into the past may bring back memories of a time when a single penny still carried a bit of dignity. And who knows, you might just discover that a small copper coin you once held in your pocket had a story more powerful than you ever imagined. Now let's step back to 1987, a time when the United States was experiencing a mix of modern progress and traditional values. The 1987 D1 cent Lincoln Memorial coin didn't arrive with fanfare, nor did anyone expect it to become special. It was just a common penny struck by the Denver Mint, meant for everyday use. People tossed it into vending machines, saved it for exact change, or forgot it at the bottom of a coat pocket. Yet behind its simple appearance, this coin carries the weight of American history, symbolism, and craftsmanship. Empty the front of the coin stands Abraham Lincoln, captured in profile, his gaze steady and thoughtful. For many older collectors, Lincoln's portrait is more than a design. It represents strength, integrity, and the belief that one person can reshape a nation. The penny has carried Lincoln's image since 1909, marking the centennial of his birth. The 1987 D version continues this legacy, reminding anyone who holds it that even the smallest denomination can carry the greatest story. The small letter D beneath the date tells us this coin was produced at the Denver Mint. Denver's reputation for precision and mass production is well known, and in 1987, millions of these pennies rolled off the presses. To the average person, that meant the coin was ordinary. But for collectors, the mint mark is a fingerprint. It says, "This is where I came from," anchoring the coin to a specific time and place in American history. Turn the coin over, and you'll see the Lincoln Memorial engraved with disciplined symmetry. Every column, every shadow, and every detail reflects the monument in Washington, D.C., a tribute to Lincoln's enduring legacy. What many people never notice is that if you look closely, the tiny outline of the statue of Lincoln is visible between the central columns. This subtle detail reminds us that the coin is not just a symbol, but a miniature piece of American art carrying deep historical meaning. In 1987, the penny was still made primarily of zinc with a thin copper coating. Yet collectors often feel a stronger connection to these later Lincoln Memorial cents than the earlier versions because they were part of their everyday lives. They jingled in pockets during morning walks, sat beside coffee cups at local diners, and paid for Sunday newspapers. Many of you watching this may remember handing these very pennies to your kids or grandkids, teaching them the value of saving or the fun of collecting small treasures. But what truly gives a coin like the 1987 D the potential for extraordinary value isn't just age. It's the rare errors, the minting mistakes that slipped through unnoticed. A misplaced digit, a doubled image, or an off-center strike can turn an ordinary penny into a collector's dream. Most 1987 D pennies are worth only their face value, but some rare specimens with unusual imperfections have stunned collectors with their unexpected value. These coins prove that even in mass production, rarity can appear when no one is looking. Imagine a flawless 1987 D penny, perfectly preserved in a protective case, untouched by time. No scratches, no marques, no discoloration. Coins like this are almost unheard of because pennies live hard lives. They pass through countless hands, survive drops, spills, and friction. Finding one in pristine condition is like discovering a small piece of 1987 frozen in time. Collectors in the 55 to 65 plus age group often appreciate the deeper meaning behind these coins. You've lived through decades of change, watched the world transform, and held on to memories that newer generations might never fully understand. The 1987 D penny becomes a bridge between past experiences and present discoveries. It reminds you of the value of simple things, the joy of finding little treasures, and the thrill of uncovering something extraordinary where no one else thought to look. This coin, 1 cent 1987 D, Lincoln Memorial United States coin history. This coin, 1973 United States, 1 cent Lincoln Memorial coin. A humble penny with a legacy that stretches back more than a century. At first glance, it may look like just another small copper coin, but what lies beneath is a fascinating journey through American history, craftsmanship, and even the potential for rare fortune. The Lincoln cent has been in circulation since 1909, originally designed by Victor David Brenner to honor the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. It was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person's image, breaking with the tradition of symbolic figures like Lady Liberty. The front, or obverse, of the coin featured Lincoln's right-facing portrait, which still remains today. Fast forward to 1959, when the reverse of the coin changed to feature the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. This change marked Lincoln's 150th birthday and replaced the original wheat stalk design. The new reverse was designed by Frank Gasparo, who later became the chief engraver of the U.S. Mint. From 1959 until 2008, the Lincoln Memorial graced the reverse side, including the 1973 issue. The 1973 Lincoln cent continued this design tradition. It was struck at 3 mints: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, marked with a D; and San Francisco, marked with an S. The Philadelphia and Denver mints produced coins for circulation, while the San Francisco mint focused mostly on proof coins, highly polished pieces intended for collectors. Now, let's take a closer look at the coin itself. The obverse of the 1973 Lincoln cent features the portrait of Abraham Lincoln, along with the inscriptions "In God We Trust" above his head, "Liberty" to the left, and the date, 1973, to the right. If the coin has a mint mark, it will appear just under the date. On the reverse, the Lincoln Memorial stands proud and detailed. If you look closely, you can even see a tiny representation of a seated Lincoln statue inside the memorial. An impressive detail considering the coin size. Above the memorial, the words "United States of America" are inscribed, while 1 cent is placed below. The national motto, E pluribus unum, is centered above the building. In terms of composition, the 1973 penny is made primarily of copper. It consists of 95% copper and 5% zinc, weighing 3.11 grams. This composition remained standard until 1982, when the U.S. Mint changed to a mostly zinc core due to rising copper prices. So, all 1973 Lincoln cents are true copper coins, a fact that adds to their collector appeal. Now let's talk numbers. In 1973, the Philadelphia Mint struck over 3.7 billion pennies. The Denver Mint produced slightly more than 3.5 billion, and the San Francisco Mint created around 2.7 million proof coins. Because of these high mintages, most 1973 cents are not considered rare. They still turn up in pocket change today and are common in coin jars across the country. However, condition is everything in the coin world. A 1973 Lincoln cent in uncirculated or mint state condition is significantly more valuable than a worn example. Collectors often seek coins graded MS 65 or higher by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC. Proof coins from San Francisco are also popular with collectors, especially when preserved in their original proof sets. Now, here comes the exciting part: value. While a typical 1973 penny in circulated condition is worth only its face value, and even uncirculated coins often sell for under $1, rare error versions and extremely high-grade specimens can fetch incredible prices. In fact, a few pristine examples have sold for thousands. But the real standout is a legendary 1973 D. Lincoln cent error coin that some claim has fetched offers of up to $2.5 million due to its extreme rarity and perfect condition, possibly involving a minting anomaly or an off-metal strike. Such valuations are extremely rare and usually result from unique historical or minting circumstances. That kind of extraordinary value isn't something you'll typically find in your coin jar, but it's part of what makes coin collecting so thrilling. It only takes one overlooked error or one near-perfect specimen to turn an ordinary penny into a record-breaking treasure. That's why collectors and dealers alike are always on the lookout. Some known errors for the 1973 Lincoln cent include double die obverse, off-center strikes, and die cracks. While none of these are common, they do occur. If you find a 1973 penny with unusual lettering, blurry images, or doubling in the inscriptions or date, it's worth examining under magnification. Or better yet, having it evaluated by a professional. Collectors also value full red coins, 1973 cents that retain their original reddish copper color, without toning or darkening. These coins are designated as RD by grading services and are more desirable than RB, red-brown, or bien, brown examples. A full red, flawless coin from 1973 could bring in several $100s or more, depending on grade. Interestingly, the Lincoln Memorial design came to an end in 2008, replaced in 2009 by 4 special reverse designs celebrating Lincoln's life. In 2010, the shield reverse began, which is still used today. So every memorial penny has become a piece of American numismatic history. And the 1973 issue is a strong example from the heart of that, ERA.SO. If you got this coin 1 cent, 1973 Lincoln Memorial United States coin history. This coin, 1972 Lincoln Memorial 1 cent coin, a small piece of copper that holds a big place in American numismatics. This coin may look ordinary, but it carries layers of design, rarity, and history that make it a true collector's treasure. The Lincoln cent has been in continuous production since 1909, first introduced to celebrate the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. By 1972, it had already seen decades of changes in minting practices and designs. The reverse side, featuring the Lincoln Memorial, was introduced in 1959, replacing the original wheat ears. The 1972 cent continues this memorial design, but with some fascinating details unique to that year. Designed by Victor David Brenner on the obverse and Frank Gasparo on the reverse, the coin carries Lincoln's profile on the front and the iconic memorial building on the back. If you look closely at the reverse, you can even see a tiny representation of Lincoln seated inside the memorial. A subtle detail appreciated by collectors that, in terms of composition, the 1972 cent was still made of 95% copper and 5% zinc. This was before the U.S. Mint switched to a mostly zinc composition in 1982. The 1972 penny weighs 3.11 grams and has a diameter of 19.05 millimeters. These copper-based coins have a distinctive sound and feel that's different from modern cents. The 1972 Lincoln Memorial cent was struck at 3 different mints: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, D; and San Francisco, S. The most commonly found version is the Philadelphia strike, with over 2.9 billion coins produced. The Denver Mint produced over 2.6 billion, and the San Francisco Mint struck about 376 million, most of which were proof coins. What makes the 1972 cent especially notable among collectors is the existence of a famous double die obverse, DDO variety. This particular error occurred during the die creation process, resulting in dramatic doubling on the inscriptions "Liberty," "In God We Trust," and the date 1972. When viewed under magnification, this doubling is bold and clearly visible. This 1972 double die variety, known as 1972 DDO FS 101, is one of the most recognized and valuable double dies in U.S. coinage. The error was caught early by collectors, and only a limited number of examples were saved in good condition. These coins are now highly sought after in the numismatic market. If you're lucky enough to own one of these 1972 DDO pennies in mint state, it could be worth a small fortune. Lower grade examples can bring in hundreds of dollars, while uncirculated coins with sharp details and a rich red color can sell for thousands. In 2021, a high-grade 1972 DDO penny graded MS67 red by Piece GS sold for over $14,000 at auction. But it doesn't stop there. Among the rarest 1972 DDO coins, especially those with pristine red surfaces and flawless luster, there are examples that collectors value much higher. One specimen reportedly sold in a private transaction for nearly $1.5 million, making it one of the most valuable Lincoln cents ever sold. It's this kind of discovery that keeps treasure hunters combing through their old pennies. Beyond the DDO, the 1972 cent also has several minor varieties and errors, including off-center strikes, die cracks, and repunched mint marks. While these may not reach the same astronomical value, they're still interesting and collectible, especially in higher grades or unusual forms. The San Francisco mint-approved coins are also quite appealing to collectors. These were made using polished dies and special planchets to produce mirror-like surfaces. A flawless 1972 S-proof penny graded PR 70 deep cameo is relatively scarce and can sell for several $100s, depending on market demand. That if you're hunting for a valuable 1972 cent, look closely at every detail, especially the inscriptions. A genuine 1972 DDO will show clear doubling with no aid of magnification. However, to confirm authenticity and condition, it's wise to get your coin graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. Authentication adds tremendous value and credibility if you plan to sell. For those wondering whether they might have a hidden treasure in their change jar or old coin collection, now's the time to check. Many people have unknowingly spent or tossed these rare 1972 double die cents. Their value continues to climb as more collectors enter the market and existing coins age or get lost. It's important to note that not all 1972 pennies are worth a fortune. Most regular 1972 cents found in circulation today are worth only face value unless they're in pristine, uncirculated condition. But for collectors, even a clean, shiny example without errors can hold sentimental and educational value. As time passes, vintage coins like this coin 1 cent 1972 Lincoln Memorial United States coin history. This coin 1971 Lincoln Memorial 1 cent coin from the United States. This tiny copper coin holds a big story, one that blends American heritage, numismatic curiosity, and incredible collector value. The Lincoln cent has been a familiar coin in American pockets since 1909. It was introduced to celebrate the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. Designed by Victor David Brenner, it was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person's portrait. The obverse, or front side, has always shown a right-facing bust of Lincoln, a design that has stood the test of time. Fast forward to 1959, and the reverse side of the coin underwent a major change. In honor of the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth, the U.S. Mint replaced the wheat stalks on the back with a detailed image of the Lincoln Memorial. This design, created by Frank Gasparo, remained in use until 2008, making the Lincoln Memorial cent a coin most Americans grew up using. The 1971 Lincoln cent is part of this memorial series and was minted in massive numbers. There were 3 main mints involved in its production: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Each mint produced slightly different versions, and collectors know that these differences can sometimes lead to rare and valuable varieties. Most 1971 cents are made of 95% copper and 5% zinc, weighing 3.11 grams. This composition remained standard until 1982, when the rising cost of copper, led the U.S. Mint to change the material. Therefore, pre-1982 copper cents like the one for 1971 are often sought after not just for numismatic value, but also for their metal content. The Philadelphia Mint produced over 1.1 billion Lincoln cents in 1971, making it a common coin. These coins do not carry a mint mark. However, the Denver Mint produced more than 2.9 billion, and these can be identified by a small d beneath the date. San Francisco, known for its proof coins, produced around 3 million proof cents that year, marked with an S, even though the 1971 cent is common. What makes it fascinating are the varieties and errors found among them. The most famous is the 1971 double die obverse, DDO, where parts of the design, especially Liberty, In God We Trust, and the date, appear doubled. This rare variety was the result of a misalignment during the die creation process that if you find a 1971 cent with strong doubling, especially on the obverse text, don't overlook it. These DDO coins are highly collectible. Depending on the clarity and condition of the doubling, such a coin can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars in the right market. Professional grading from a service like PCGS or NGC is essential to confirm its authenticity and maximize its value. Other mint errors from 1971 that attract collectors include off-center strikes, die cracks, cuds, and struck-through debris errors. While minor errors might only fetch a few dollars, dramatic or rare examples in high grade can bring in significant premiums. Now, let's talk about value. While a regular 1971 penny in circulated condition might only be worth its face value or slightly more for its copper content, a 1971 double die obverse in pristine condition can sell for tens of thousands of dollars. The most exceptional example, a high-grade, nearly flawless DDO penny, has reportedly sold at auction for up to $1.5 million. Yes, $1.5 million for a penny, when it's rare enough and in mint state. That brings us to an important point. Condition is everything in coin collecting. Collectors and investors look for coins with strong eye appeal, meaning minimal wear, sharp strike, and full original luster. Coins graded MS 65 or higher are considered top tier, and errors in such grades are especially desirable. If you're looking for 1971 Lincoln cents, check your old coin jars or piggy banks. Even proof coins from that year can be valuable if they are in high condition and free of damage or fingerprints. Always handle proof coins by the edges and avoid cleaning any coin, as that can reduce its value. Many collectors build sets of Lincoln Memorial cents, collecting one from each year and mint mark. The 1971 coin is an essential part of such a set, especially if you can find the DDO or other varieties. Its place in history, combined with the potential for hidden value, makes it a fun and exciting coin to search for. In terms of design, the 1971 Lincoln cent maintains the strong, classic profile of Lincoln with the simple yet iconic Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. While it may not be flashy, its design is a testament to enduring simplicity and American pride. Collectors also enjoy the hunt for coins with full steps on the Lincoln Memorial, a detail that's often weakly struck. A 1971 cent with sharply defined steps can bring a small premium, even without errors or varieties that TO summarize. This coin 1 cent 1971 Lincoln Memorial United States coin history. This coin 1971 cent Lincoln Memorial coin from the United States. This coin, though seemingly ordinary, carries a surprising amount of historical and numismatic significance. The Lincoln cent has a rich legacy that began in 1909, introduced to commemorate the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. The 1970 version falls under the Lincoln Memorial design, which was first minted in 1959 and continued until 2008. This design replaced the earlier wheat ears reverse and features the Lincoln Memorial Building in Washington, D.C. On the obverse, or front side of the coin, you'll find a familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. His initials VB can be found subtly on the coin. This iconic portrait has stood the test of time and is still in use today. Above Lincoln's head is the word Liberty, and to the right is the year 1970, with the mint mark directly beneath it. The reverse of the coin, designed by Frank Asparo, displays the Lincoln Memorial in intricate detail. If you look closely, you can even spot a tiny representation of the seated statue of Lincoln, just as you'd see in the actual memorial. The top of the coin reads, United States of America, and beneath that is the phrase, E pluribus unum. At the bottom, you'll see the denomination, 1 cent, in 1970. The Lincoln cent was minted at 3 locations: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, D; and San Francisco, S. The San Francisco Mint produced both proof and business strike coins, with some highly sought-after varieties emerging from this year. These differences can significantly affect a coin's value and collectability. One of the most famous varieties from 1970 is the 1970 S small date Lincoln cent, particularly in proof condition. The small date is more compressed and gives the number 7 in the date a higher appearance than the large date variety. Distinguishing between small and large date varieties take a sharp eye, but can lead to exciting discoveries for collectors. An even more exciting feature of the 1970 Lincoln cent is the double die obverse DDO variety, especially on the 1970 S small date. In this version, you may notice strong doubling on the date and the inscription Liberty. These errors are rare and were caused by misalignment during the die creation process at the mint. The rarity and demand for these error coins have turned the 1970 S small date DDO proof Lincoln cent into one of the most valuable pennies in the world. Even standard 1970 S small date proof coins in pristine condition can fetch a premium. The unique combination of low mintage, error rarity, and condition creates a perfect storm for high collector interest. Now, let's talk value. While most 1970 Lincoln cents are common and worth only face value in circulation, the rare 1970 S small date double die obverse in proof condition has sold at auction for staggering amounts. One such coin, in nearly perfect PR 69 grade, once sold for over $1.7 million. This makes it one of the most valuable Lincoln cents ever sold, and certainly among the most desirable 1-cent coins worldwide. Other less rare, but still valuable versions include the 1970 S small date in regular proof, which can sell for $50 to $300 depending on condition, and the DDO versions without the small date that still carry notable premiums. Collectors often seek out these coins to complete their Lincoln series with a key rarity that, if you want to identify a 1970 S small date Lincoln cent, you can compare the date spacing and shape of the 7 with known examples. A coin microscope or high-resolution scan can help in catching subtle differences. Professional grading and certification are highly recommended if you believe you own one of these rare variants. The mintage numbers also play a role in collectability. In 1970, the Philadelphia Mint produced over 1.1 billion cents, while Denver struck over 2.9 billion. However, the San Francisco Mint made just 690 million business strike cents and 2.6 million proof coins, making the S Mint coins relatively scarcer. The Lincoln Memorial reverse design, used from 1959 to 2008, was eventually replaced by the Lincoln Bicentennial designs in 2009. This marked the end of an era, further increasing interest in older memorial cents like the one from 1970. For many collectors, the 1970 S small date variety represents a thrilling challenge and a potentially rewarding find. Collectors love the story behind a coin, and the 1970 Lincoln cent has everything: history, errors, variations, and surprise value. It's a prime example of how a seemingly simple penny can carry a legacy and value far beyond its face worth. Even today, many are still searching coin rolls hoping to find one of these rare pieces. Whether you're a seasoned collector or a beginner, this coin 1 cent 1970 Lincoln Memorial United States coin history